And welcome back
Yeah.
to another episode of Just Hoop Talk with Justin Henry, Will Thompson, and today we're going to be covering Russell Westbrook in this crazy run he's on, man. We saw it with OKC before the triple doubles, but seeing it on Washington's a whole different ball game, man. We're going to cover that and a lot more here with this Eastern Conference that's starting to shake out a little bit more. Before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Our goal for the viewers out there, our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of this season. And so right now we've been trending, but we need your guys' help. We need your guys' help. So smash that subscribe button, hit the like, hit the share. It all helps. And make sure you comment with us. We'll comment back. If you're here on the live edition with us, post your comment and we'll definitely get at you. But we got to talk about Russell Westbrook first, man. You know me, man. Will, I've been a big Russell fan. I know that he's a little chaotic there at the end of the 2 minutes towards the end of the game. But I think we're seeing exactly what we knew Russell Westbrook was before he went to Houston. And that's one of the best point guards. Only thing missing really is a NBA Finals. What's your thoughts on his run this year? Because he's going to average another triple-double this year. And, I mean, he just dropped 20 boards, 20 assists. Everybody always says stat padding, man. Where are you at when it comes to Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, I'm a fan, man. I think this year has been this year stands out for me just because he's doing it in a different situation with different people around him. In Oklahoma City, I think he got super comfortable. And there were times, like, you could see, like, they were letting him get the rebound and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that was happening. But seeing him do it with a different group and the way he's leading them and the fact that they're winning games as well, man, is a big deal. Obviously, they started out rough, but the fact that they're winning games, he's putting them in a position to be in the playoffs. I think they're, man, we talked about this. You talked about this. They're coming for that 8th spot, man. They really are. Like, it's great to see LaMelo back and all that, but Russ is coming for that spot. He wants it, man.
Yeah, and they're only a game and a half out of that 8th seed right now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, honestly, they look like the better team with not even the better team. They have the better superstars, like the better two to get to the next level. Like, they have the talent. When you're looking at the West, man, I mean, the East, I'm sorry.
That's what I was
You got the Wizards, the Pacers, the Hornets, the Celtics. So you know that Russ is coming for – Russ and Beal, they're playing right now. They're like, I don't want to have to win 2 in order to get into these playoffs. Let's win our games now. And, I mean, they're both playing with kind of a crazy intensity. I want to double back, though, on Russell Westbrook because his coach today said that he felt that Russell Westbrook was the second best point guard of all time. You and I did point guard rankings way back last year, and I think we're going to have to run that back again.
Yeah.
But we did some point guard rankings, and Russell Westbrook, I think I threw him out there as like one of the 5-7, and you were like, okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
Where do you have him now? Is he starting to enter that top 5? Because when you talk about Oscar Robertson, he's like fringe top 5, and I think Russell is either there or he's damn near surpassed kind of where Oscar's been doing. What do you see Russell Westbrook when it comes to that top 5, top 10 conversation?
I think he's got to be in that conversation for, I would say, top 5. I don't know. Before this year, it didn't look great in Houston, and that definitely downgraded them a little bit. But to see him come back and do it in a different situation and do it with different people and different coach and different guys around him, the fact that he just makes triple doubles look easy and he makes it look normal. It's just, I think when we look back at this, we're going to realize how special it really was.
Yeah.
I think now that he's doing it, we're just like, that's Russ, man. He goes harder than everybody else. And, he's intense. But I think when we really look back at it, we're going to be like, damn, that was special, man. Like, cherish these moments. Like, I would say to people, watch this guy, man, and remember it. Because I think we're going to be talking about this for a very long time. I just don't see anybody come in and, guys put up stats now, and, guys like Luka and James Harden, but he's different, man. He really is. He's not.
Think about it. He kind of started this trend.
Yeah.
Like the triple-double trend where everybody is kind of easily getting triple-doubles. It started with what Russ – I can't even say his name, Russell Westbrook, man. It started with Westbrook. And it's crazy because he's the type of player that looks like on paper, okay, he's trying to get this rebound. He's trying to get this assist. But But at the end of the day, I think any player would really try to get a triple-double. They can't.
Right.
They legit just can't. Like, I think if LeBron could average a triple-double for a year, he would have done it by now.
Yeah.
And I think there's not too many players out there. Maybe Luka is on that page. Maybe
Right.
James Harden could do it. But there's nobody really else like Russ who can go the entire game for an entire season at that pace. It's tough. I mean, as players, you know how hard it is to accumulate stats. And to just say that it's stat padding, I think at some point you just got to give the man his flowers. And for whatever he lacks in that last 2 minutes, that clutch, in just kind of that basketball, a little bit of a lack of basketball IQ when it comes to the final 2 minutes, 30 seconds of a game or whatever, I think we have to give Russ his flowers now for what he's able to do on the basketball floor in those other minutes when he's putting together 20 points or 20 boards or 20 assists, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. And what's really interesting with him is he's not an elite level scorer. Like, you look at a guy like James Harden and a guy like Luka, their ability to score opens up a lot for them, you know? Like, their ability to score means that they're constantly drawing other defenders and kicking it out. And, you know, their ability to score opens things up for them. Russ doesn't have that. Like, he's forcing everything that he does, dude. He's like literally just forcing it down your throat.
Yeah.
Still able to do it, man. You know exactly what he's going to do when he comes on the court, and he's still able to get it off. You know, like, people can't keep him off the boards. He's able to create for teammates despite the lack of being able to shoot and pull defenders out towards him. It's really incredible, man. Like you said, we got to give him his flowers, man. Tonight was actually really impressive, man. We got to talk about that too. 14, 20, and 24.
24, man. You got 24 assists. He almost broke Scott Skiles' record, man.
Yeah.
You know, when you start talking top five, before we get into his night tonight, when you start talking top five, I just want to throw some names out there, you know, stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I think we got Magic Johnson. I think right now he's untouchable to me. I don't feel like there's anybody that can touch Magic as the GOAT point guard. And if you feel that way, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
But Magic right now, to me, is untouchable. Number two, it's debatable. So you're probably talking somewhere in the Steph Curry, John Stockton, maybe like Isaiah Thomas, J. Kidd, Chris Paul. Like, it all starts to get a little bit more dicey there. But what about John Stockton? Russ or John Stockton? Who you got?
Whew. At the end of the day, I would say, I mean,
neither got championships.
At the end of Russ's career, probably. I mean, because you look at John Stockton, what does John Stockton have?
John Stockton's like the GOAT assist and steals. Like, nobody's touching him in anything.
He has stats, and Russ has stats as well. And if you stack those stats up with each other, I think Russ wins, man. Like, at the end of the day, if you're about to play a game and your life's on the line, who are you picking as your point guard, bro?
Man, it depends. You playing 5-on-5 or you playing 3-on-3?
Yeah.
Because if I need to run a pick and roll, damn it, I'm picking John Stockton. Okay, so Russ right now is kind of with John Stockton. What about somebody like Isaiah Thomas, who has championships?
Man, that's tough because they're kind of similar in a lot of ways, like really feisty point guards will like fight you at any time, man. Will do anything to win type of guys. Shoot, man. I got to go with Isaiah just because of the championships.
Okay.
But obviously, Russ is a bigger, stronger, more explosive guard. Isaiah wasn't really an elite level scorer anyways.
Right.
He played with the team with, I want to say there was 4 Hall of Famers on that team that he won championships with.
It's close.
So
I think.
Yeah, it's tough to say. Isaiah, I don't want to take anything away from Isaiah, but you got to remember it was him, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, and
Bill Laimbeer.
I don't think Bill Laimbeer is in the Hall of Fame.
No,
but there was a lot of
Hall of Fame. That whole team, though, Mark Aguirre. I mean, we could go on about the Bad Boy Pistons, too.
A lot of Hall of Famers on that team, man. So
yeah. Only thing I see is if Isaiah Thomas was trying to guard Russell Westbrook,
that would
be pure domination on Westbrook's end, man. He would be dunking all over him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if I had to take those two, I would go Russ. I would go Russ over over Isaiah Thomas at that point. All right. So last one, who you got right now? All-time point guard. This is going to be, I think this will be one that people talk about in the comments. All-time point guard. One of them has championships and has changed the game. The other one has a whole bunch of stats and hasn't really changed the game or won.
Yeah.
Westbrook versus Curry.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Overall, when it comes to point guards, who are you taking? Not just best shooter. Who are you taking when it comes to point guards?
I gotta go with Steph, man. You know what's interesting about Steph is Steph is a point guard in the sense of like his size and kind of, you know, sometimes he brings the ball up the court, but he's not a traditional point guard. I know a lot of people a lot of people will argue that, but to me, he's not really a point guard. He's a shooting guard, but because of his size and I mean, a majority of the time he's coming off screens and looking to shoot, right? Like he's not out there necessarily creating for others, getting the team in the offense, directing guys on the court. Those are things that you see Russ do all the time, right? Like he's telling people where to go, where to.
Dude, he's actually better than people give him credit for.
Yes,
in doing that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, Steph obviously he just falls into the point guard category by default. So they're totally different players. But I'll take Steph, man. That dude, especially the way he's playing right now. Oh my God.
It's so I look at these teams and I'm like, if I can take the last few minutes away from Russ when he just tries to play hero, I think I would take Russell over Steph. But I think that's where, and I'm not saying Steph's much better in those types of situations. I would just rather have Steph on the floor for those periods of time.
Yeah.
I think what Russ brings to the table is really unique. You have to build around Russ, which is different than like playing with the Steph who can kind of fit into different offenses, I feel like. With Russ, it all goes through him. And I think that is a big knock on him because now it looks like because everything goes through him, the rebounds, the fast breaks, the ball movement, he turns the ball over a lot. He's not really strong handle. Passes are a little bit loose at times. I think that's where I start to see, okay, there's a little bit more fundamentally wrong with Russell Westbrook's game. But he's a player. He's such a competitor, man. I feel like if I had him with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, I might have a different Russell Westbrook opinion. But because we haven't seen him with those stacked teams, we've seen it with just Russ and like Steven Adams and Serge Ibaka. And after KD left and he was still putting up the numbers. We saw it with just him and Harden last year. We're seeing it with just him and Bill. Like, I want to see him with a full team and see what happens. I think that Russ, if it's not all on him in the last minutes or if he could ever just kind of remove himself from that last 15 seconds, I don't know. We're going to get to see a lot about Russell Westbrook this playoffs with this playing game, man. The 7 through 10 seed. Right now, as it is, they're lined up to play the Celtics. And it looks like they're probably going to pass the Pacers or the Hornets.
I think so.
So if they play the Pacers or the Hornets, you think that they come out of that or you think that they're losing?
Yeah, I think the only situation where they could potentially lose would be the Celtics, right? The Celtics
Do you see them losing to the Celtics?
Oh, man, that's tough, dude. That would be an interesting matchup. Two teams kind of going in different directions.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about the Celtics, to be honest. Right now, as of the way they're playing, the Wizards are playing better than the Celtics, to be honest, right? The Celtics have all the pieces, though. Like, you should look at this team like, they should beat the Wizards, too. Like, but right now, the way the Wizards are playing, they look better than the Celtics.
I think this season it made the Wizards look worse than they were. They had a lot of COVID stuff. They had a lot of rescheduling. They had injuries early on. They didn't really get a chance to gel. Brand new players coming to the team. They dealt, I think, like Thomas Bryant got hurt. They had another injury, a major injury. The rookie Denny Avila just got hurt towards the end of the year. So Roy Hachimura was slow to get on. Beal was dealing with some stuff early on. Westbrook was slow to get ramped up to speed. Like, there was a bunch going on with this team, and I think that this COVID season didn't really give everybody a chance to see what this team looked like.
Yeah.
Like, we're just now starting to see what the Wizards look like at full, not even at full strength, but just playing consistently without having their schedule mixed up.
Yeah.
Davis Bertans was out for the beginning part of the year. Like, they're getting some of their weapons back. And even still with the injuries, they look like a top 5-6 team in the East.
Yeah.
I would say, and that's kind of where we had them ranked early on. I think I had them ranked pretty high early on. But that's the reason why. It's because when you have this type of talent there with Russ and Beal, they can go beat anybody. And the Celtics team, like you mentioned, I think Tatum and Jaylen Brown ended up getting hurt the other day.
Man.
I mean, they're kind of thin. They're
Yes.
thin, and I could see this being a quick exit for the Celtics if they happen to get in there. What do you think about this? Let's dive into the Celtics real quick before we
Yeah.
talk about the standings. You think this team is just? I mean, we kind of touched on it before. They had the bubble. Obviously, they might be going through some bubble withdrawals, sophomore slump type thing. But is this team capable of repeating that magic that they had last year in the bubble?
I wish we could pull up the episode. You remember we talked about this, and we were talking about the window closing for the Celtics. We talked about there's a short window of success, man.
I think we talked about our season preview.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. We were talking about the window potentially closing for this team, like whether it's bad decisions being made by management, coach's voice kind of falling on deaf ears, like players aren't responding to the coach. A lot of it's injuries. It's just a lot of things working against the Celtics. They don't look interested to me. It looks like they're just kind of going through the motions. Looks like, they're like, oh, we've been here before. We'll figure it out. We'll turn it on when we need to turn it on. And it just, I don't watch them. I'm not inspired. I'm not interested in like them making a deep run. I just don't see it with them, man. Like whatever it is, they don't have it. Something needs to change. They need something to just kind of shake them up because they don't look good, man.
Yeah. It's to me, it's those. This is the difference between like a playoff team that can make a playoff run versus a good basketball team.
Right.
And what we see from the Celtics is like spurts. We'll see 4 or 5 games where they look, okay, they're back. And then we go another 3 or 4 games where we're like, ooh, is this Celtics team even going to make the play-in? Like, are they going to be competitive to get into the playoffs? And we've seen it with Jason Tatum. Like, we saw him just drop 60 the other day. Like, what he's capable of. I know we've seen Jaylen Brown go for like 30 and 15 at times. We know what this team is capable of, but can they do it consistently? And do they have the want to do it? Like, I feel like last year there was the want to prove people wrong. Yep. They were in the bubble. They had nothing else to focus on. And this year, they might get into their own head. There's other catalysts that are going on there and other teams that seem like they wanted a little bit more. This Celtics team to me is a little bit it's a little disheartening to watch at times because you want them to be better than what they are. And unfortunately, it's just they're still, to me, a young basketball team that has some growing to do.
Do you think the way they're built, do you think that makes sense long term? Do you think Tatum and Brown kind of stunt each other's growth a little bit? Because of we see like players later in their career coming together to win a championship, right?
Yes.
We're talking about 2 young players who are like potential superstars, almost kind of competing against each other in that way. And that's one of those things that it can either be great for your team or it can kind of hold your team back a little bit. It doesn't seem like, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like it's working. It's not coming to fruition like we kind of thought it would,
Well, that's a good point because it doesn't always work. Like teams, we see it Shaq and Kobe, Russ and KD. Yeah. We kind of saw with Embiid and Ben Simmons there for a minute. It's like sometimes the dream pairing doesn't work for the players.
Right.
In this instance, though, I don't know that it's like that. I like the way that Tatum and Brown play together. I think that those two can be a duo for a long period of time. Where I think that this team has started to falter is that they haven't built the right team around them. Yes. They tried to put Kyrie there. Kyrie kind of left them high and dry.
Yeah.
They tried to put Gordon Hayward there. He kind of left them high and dry.
Yeah.
They had Al Horford there. It was a bad mix. Like, I think they just haven't put the right pieces around these guys. And they're trying now with, they got Robert Williams there. Marcus Smart seems to kind of be the odd man out. Like, you have to pay him because he's like borderline all-star talent. Right. You have to pay him like that. And I think that's the type of player that hurts your friend. He's a great player, but I think when you're trying to build a team around those 2 guys, that hurts what you're trying to do because he's another guy that is almost a superstar, but he's not quite that level. Defensively, he is, but where they need him to be, he can't be. And Kemba, the same thing. Like, you overpay Kemba Walker, and it's like he hasn't been able to stay healthy to even be on the court. So you're doing these guys a disservice, and it makes the whole organization look like it's a little bit, unorganized.
Right. I think, that's a great point, man. Like, just, and I like Kemba, but I don't want to, like, pile on him. But his inability to stay healthy and then inability to knock down the outside shot consistently, I think has really hurt them and really held that team back, man. They're really depending on him to
Well, we saw
be
last year in the
an
bubble. He
all-star.
hit that. I mean, he had a couple clutch shots last year,
Yeah.
and they need that. The
Yes.
Celtics need that.
They
They
do.
need him. They need another option besides Tatum or Brown because defenses are just focusing and keying in on them as the only
Yeah.
scorers. And it's like this team, they got Evan Fournier. So I want to see what that looks like too.
Yeah.
Because that's a good piece for them. Another good scoring piece that can
Yeah.
relieve a little bit of that. And so hopefully we get to see him healthy here for this final stretch if they can put it all together.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I look at this team and I don't know whose team it is. I feel like it's Jason Tatum's team. But it doesn't feel like it's his team. It doesn't feel like it's all on him. And I feel like the responsibility is kind of passed around a little bit with this team, right?
Yeah.
Like they're like Kemba's getting blamed, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, this guy's out, and no one's really responsible for the team, right? If the Lakers struggle, everybody's going straight to LeBron. You know what I mean?
No, it's LeBron.
Like, yeah, in a lot of these teams, like they have one guy who it's all on their shoulders, and that puts more pressure on these guys and makes them kind of step up. And the Celtics, they don't have that. They don't have that one guy who's like, they're waiting. I feel like they're waiting for Tatum to just be that guy.
Let me ask you this, Will. Let me ask you this. As somebody who's played, as somebody who knows different types of styles,
Yeah.
this is a really interesting topic to me. Is there's always that team that has the defensive guy or like the kind of like the third or fourth star on the team.
Yeah.
That's just a dog. Like people love him. You love to have him on your team. Hate to play against him.
Right.
But he's a mouth or he's a troublemaker. But a lot of times he also thinks he's the best player on the team. You see that with like a Pat Bev or like a Draymond Green. And I think you kind of have that there in Boston with Marcus Smart. I think his style of play, I love that he's a dog, and I think he's one of the top defenders in the league. But is that kind of player harmful for you because he doesn't always make the smartest play, no pun intended, the smartest plays in the clutch? And I know a lot of times he thinks he can hit that shot or he likes to take that shot. When you got guys like Tatum and Jaylen Brown sitting there ready for you, is that guy like a hamper to your team, or do you want that dog on your team no matter what?
That's so interesting, man, because like I was just talking about with Tatum and Brown, who's the leader, who's stepping up and doing things in big moments. And they both came in onto this team with Marcus Smart already being there, right? With him being this big personality and being kind of a leader. He really is kind of like the leader of the team. They say it all the time, like Marcus Smart is the heart of this team.
Well, you asked whose team it was. I feel like it's Marcus Smart's team.
Yeah. And Draymond's similar, right? Like they have a similar situation with Draymond, but Draymond will always defer to Steph. Always defer to Clay. Even when KD was there, as much as he hated KD or whatever, he would always defer. And you're right, man. Marcus Smart feels like he can make that shot, you know? He feels like he's that dude, and we see him kind of trying to go off at times, and I feel like the other players let him do it, you know?
Yeah.
And Jason Tatum, he seems like a really just kind of nice guy, like easygoing, nonchalant kind of guy. Like, he's not the dude who's going to go KD and just tell him, like, yo, give me the fucking ball. Like, what are you doing, right? Like, KD, when Draymond was dribbling the ball off the court off his foot, KD cussed him out, you know? So Tatum doesn't seem like the type of guy to just cuss Marcus Smart out. Like, bro, that's my ball, dude. Like, so maybe that's something, man. There's something there. That's a good point, dude.
It is. Well, you saw it because even last year in the bubble, they got in a little rift. There was the time where they got in a rift after the end of the game because Marcus Smart I forgot exactly what happened, but Marcus Smart did something at the end of the game, and it was a problem in the locker room. They ended up getting into a fight in the locker room, and there was some stuff that had spilled out later on. And we just saw it the other day too. He got a technical or a turnover or something like that, and it cost the team the game. And it's like Marcus Smart's a great player, but there are times where he costs his team, and he's not the only player that is like that. You know, I think we talked about Russ as our headliner for the show, and Russ kind of has that too, where he doesn't want to back down to anybody. He always wants to take the last shot. And it's not always the smartest play. He's thinking more with his heart than with his head. And sometimes for players that aren't as gifted as a LeBron, as a Jordan, as a Kobe, as a Tatum even, like you can't always go with your heart. Sometimes you got to make the smart play, and it doesn't always happen, man.
That's interesting. If there's any Celtics fans listening or anybody out there, like let us know your opinion on that. Is Marcus Smart, is he doing too much, essentially, with this team? He's got to let Jason Tatum be that dude, and Jason Tatum obviously has to step up and be that dude. But I think Marcus Smart kind of has to let Jason Tatum take over, man.
Yeah. All right,
Interesting.
well, let's finish up this Eastern Conference. I want to talk about two more things with the East.
Yeah.
One is we saw Derrick Rose ice a
Yeah,
game
man.
today for the
Yeah.
New York Knicks against the Memphis Grizzlies, and he completely
Yes.
dominated the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
crossing up players.
Yep.
I think John Morant got teed up, sent out the game. But
Yep.
this Knicks team, man, I have not given him enough credit all season, man.
No.
Have not. And you forget what kind of player Derrick Rose is,
Yes.
or was, I should say, but
Yeah.
still is today. Like, when I'm looking at this team, when you see RJ Barrett, you see some of the young players on this team, and you see Derrick Rose just kind of fit in as that vet. I think we all thought of him as like this bench player who's going to get you 15 every now and then, but this dude's still a leader. He still has that MVP juices running through him, man. Talk a little bit about the Knicks and Derrick Rose's impact on this season.
I love seeing it, man. I love seeing D Rose kind of getting back into form. Him being back with Tibbs, I think, is a good thing for him. Yeah, that's his guy, man. But yeah, I think that's the second time. I can't remember the game. It was on national TV, and Derrick Rose hit a big shot at the end of the game as well. Yeah, man, he's still got it. He still has that it. Like, we're talking about a dude who was the MVP of the league, man. Like, this dude is an MVP, and just kind of, fell on hard times, but still has that. That doesn't go away. We're seeing it with Russ now, right? Like, people kind of forgot about Russ, and now he's coming back. It doesn't just go away. He's still a relatively young guy. Can get to the basket whenever he wants. Now he's able to hit down or knock down a little bit of a mid-range. So it's exciting to see him back. It's great to see the Knicks. I saw Julius Randle with a little step back to the left three. I'm like, man, if he has that in his bag, bro, they're gonna be tough to beat, man. And especially in the East, things are really opening up, man. We don't know what the hell's going on.
They're really a good matchup away from being a second-round team. Honestly, you play a team like Atlanta, that's a team that may be a good fit, for them as far as playing against them to win. You start talking about the Celtics even. Like, the Celtics may not even want to play the Knicks at that time. The Knicks, to me, man, it's you always have them at the bottom. It's like, you've gone accustomed to it. The Knicks are just going to be the Knicks. And they made some silent moves, man, when you get, we got guys like Julius Randle on your team. I never really thought Julius Randle was an all-star caliber player, and he's putting up an MVP-type season with this team. And they've had some injuries, too, and still overcame them. They added some nice pieces. When you talk about guys like Reggie Bullock, who can come in there, Alec Burks come in there and hit the three ball. But then you also get Taj Gibson in there. You get Derrick Rose. Like, you're starting to get those veteran pieces that I'm not saying they're going to win a championship, but this is a team that could make a nice little sneaky run, get to the second round and potentially get one of those Nets or Bucks teams a run for their money there in that second round. You think the Knicks can pull off some playoff magic, or is this team just a paper regular season team?
Yeah, I think this team will get better in the postseason. And the reason being is, they play defense at an elite level, man. And as we know in the playoffs, the game really slows down, gets super physical, and every possession is huge, man. And they have the dogs, man. And Tibbs has them locked in. I love Nerlens Noel. I love the fact that he's revitalized his career, just blocking shots all over the place. They're going to be tough, man. They really are. And now they got guys who can knock down shots. That's been the biggest thing for them, right? Can they score consistently? Because we know they're going to lock you down. They're going to make it really difficult for you to score. And if they can start knocking down shots at a consistent level, those other guys coming off the bench, D Rose coming off the bench, or whoever's coming off the bench, knocking down shots and knocking down threes, they're going to be tough to beat, man. Really tough to beat.
Man, you made a huge point with the defense, and this team, that's a hell of a point, man. This team defensively is tough. And the thing that they have now, you talked about shot makers. It was, if you looked at this team, you're like, all right, can they make a playoff run at all? You have to be like, no, because really their shot guy was Julius Randle, and that's it. RJ Barrett's not going to knock it down consistently. You don't want Alec Burks or Quickly or any of the other guys kind of being your main shot guy. But when you got Derrick Rose in there, who can be your premier ball handler there in late situations, get layups, get easy buckets, get mid-range stuff that matters in playoffs, being able to knock down mid-range and getting to the bucket at ease in late games. You have that all-in-one player who's done it before. Like, he has the experience of going through a deep playoff run. So to me, this seems like the perfect setup for the Knicks to at least upset a team or two. I like it, man. I'm not saying they're going to get to the conference championship, but I can't, I wouldn't be mad to see them go a little deeper. The Knicks, to me, are a very surprising team. Obviously, love what Tibbs has done with this team. Parting thoughts on the Eastern Conference, man. There was one more topic I wanted to get into. Nets and Bucks, Nets and Sixers, the two teams at the top. Right. We covered them so much already. Sixers look like the team right now that's going to win the Eastern Conference. You never know, obviously, with a few games left. But the Nets are kind of limping in. Harden's hurt. Yeah. Kyrie's getting up to speed. Durant's getting up to speed. Do you think that this seeding matters for either of these teams?
Man, it's so tough to say because we really haven't seen it all together. I think matchups are going to be huge for them, especially in the first round. If they're able to get to the first round, get James Harden back, get him up to speed, they're going to be a problem, man. But if they get a tough matchup in the first round, if they end up in –
let's see, one or two could be like the Wizards or the Celtics.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If they end up in the 2 seed and the Wizards end up in the 7 or something like that, that's going to be tough, man. It really is because Russ is going to bring that intensity, bro. His opportunity to beat KD, he's going to bring it. I feel like they haven't. The Nets to me haven't completely gelled, and they need more time. But the Sixers, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I like the Sixers, man. Yeah. I feel like the Sixers are deep enough to handle a team like the Celtics.
Yeah.
To handle a team like the Wizards. I'm not sure if the Nets are. And I don't think that the Nets want to run into one of those teams. But I also think that next round matchup, if you're the Nets, you don't have to go up against the Bucks like next round.
Right.
If you're the 2 seed. I think they need the one so that they can go up against the Knicks or the Hawks or somebody like that so they can have time to gel. Because the next team they face is probably going to be like Bucks if they're 2 or 3, or the Heat, because the Heat are probably going to be that 5-6 seed.
Yep.
They're going to have a tough matchup that second round. Yeah. And I'm not sure. I think to them, they need the number 1 seed. Right. So that way they can, even if they have a tougher first round matchup, that second round matchup where it's Atlanta, New York, it's a little bit softer there in the middle and the East. I think they really need that moving forward.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine James Harden coming back in the playoffs and then being ready for the second round against a team like the Bucks. I think the Bucks give the Nets a lot of problems, man. Like, as far as matchups, their ability to knock down shots, Giannis is a problem for them. Anyone with legit size is going to be a problem for the Nets.
We saw it the other day. They just played, and Giannis had 49 against them. KD dropped 42 too, but that's going to be fun to watch with all of them back together. So, this Eastern Conference is shaping up, man. We got another, I think it's another 2 weeks left of the season, so hopefully we get to see things start to play out. Can't wait to see how it finishes up there with Russell Westbrook. Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Who do you think gets in that playoff game? Do you think that the Russell Westbrook's a top 5 point guard of all time? You feel like the Celtics are going down? Let us know all your thoughts in the comments. We'll talk back to you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the season. So every sub helps, every like helps, every share helps. Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Just Hoop Talk, another edition of the books.
Peace.
We're out.